I gotta tell you, I really, really hate technical issues. But it was my own fault. I decided I was going to go out and I was going to get me some, something to drink. Get me a donut. I was having a sugar fix. So I got me some of this LaCroix coconut. If you never tried LaCroix water, it's basically 7-Up with almost no flavor. But when you burp, you can taste whatever it is. Coconut, mango, orange, pamplemousse, whatever the fuck a pamplemousse is. I have no good goddamn idea. Does this function? Damn you. Alright, give me just a minute. Try that.
Funk it.
Now,
Funk
get
it.
anything going here?
Funk it. Funk it. Funk it.
That's what we need. If we're going to talk about strippers, sex workers, and other general advice, we need this type of music. I want you to trust me on this one. And let's make sure this loops forever. Because if it doesn't, well, that's just kind of fucked up. Up, there's the loop button. Bam. If any of you ever feel like being stupid online and do live streams, you can do these through Facebook. You can do them through YouTube, Twitch. I think there's a way to do it in Twitter. What you want to do to start is you want to pick up this most awesome program called OBS. It's open source, so it is free. It is a little clunky, but it is fully functional. And then you can just decide that you're going to get your crazy out there too. I feel lonely being the only one, and I don't own a skateboard, so Corey's got no competition for me. And my camera work is for shit. Let's just be honest here. Oh, and what do we lose now? Oh, let's go back to the stripper main and turn that on again. See, this is what happens when you rush. You get shitty quality. Alright. That should continue going through the entirety of this. Now let's see if I can do this in under 20 minutes, including that long-ass introduction. So I had this thing happen the other day. Now contrary to what you might think, I am not the worst influence on kids. I'm just not. I leave them alone. I ask their input on shit. Basically, I want them to grow up fulfilled, knowing that they can make choices, not caught into a learned helplessness loop as I was. I don't want to call them names, except in the way that a man might call another man names, or a boy might rank another boy. It's just how we do. Let's see, does this work? My friends, you could not be more comfortable than I am right now. So the kid turned 19, and I'm not going to mention any names, and I would hope that no one in the audience who knows him, the entire audience of maybe 2 people, would bring this up. But I was fucking with the kid, and I said, let's go to a strip club. And I must tell you, I was appalled that he was appalled at the mere thought of going to see naked women dance for his pleasure and his dollars. Of course, I'm not real all surprised about that. Testosterone's down. Sperm volatility's down. The amount of people having sex is down. This last year, I think it was something like 18% of females and 32% of males. This is in America, between 18 and 35, have not had sex in the previous year. And that's really kind of high up. Especially for me, I grew up during the 70s, and I'm not going to say that I was good at laying pipe, and I'm sure nobody I had sex with would say it either. But I did do it frequently, or as frequently as I could. My attitude has always chained me in. Anyways, the idea of being appalled at going to see a stripper, I think there's not enough male influence or too much influence from plastic products and what do they call those? Magnificent Whoppers? What the fuck is the soy shit? SciBabe will tell you the soy doesn't do it to you, and it may or may not, but something's doing it to you. It being lowering your testosterone, sperm volatility, whatever it is, sperm amount. Something in the air is doing it. A lot of people blame it on those soft plastics. By the way, that's why I go buy my soda in bulk. I get the cans. Alzheimer's might be tied to aluminum, but is this a world you want to remember anyways? You need to ask yourself that. So in the attempt to get the idea of what a strip club is and what you do there and just general tips about sex clubs and strippers and sex workers and other stuff, I want to do a quick overview. Now, first strip club I ever went to was in about 1977, and at least one other person on my friends list now, and it might have been two, used to go there with me. It was in a coal mining town called Carterville, Illinois. I think it was Carterville. And this was pretty much when strip clubs ruled the world, because you had all these miners there, coal miners. You didn't fuck with them. Those guys were big and tough. Just say hi, nod your head, and move along. They'd all be in this vast room. They'd be playing pool on like about a dozen different pool tables. Darts weren't current then, so you didn't get in on that. Be drinking beers, waiting for games. And occasionally they would watch the stripper. Now the stripper layout was a horseshoe bar, seating maybe 25 people. And the stripper was on a platform behind the bar. This was an ideal circumstance in that you were able to not deal with the strippers even eye to eye or eye to boob or whatever it was you were looking at. You could play pool, you could talk to your friends. It was just a neighborhood bar where there were a lot of pool tables and some naked women. And if you wanted to deal with the strippers, you could buy them drinks, you could buy the bartender drinks. Just don't fuck with the coal miners and you were fine. I can't speak for the current state of strip clubs, but in the 90s, the ones I went to were, I believe, mob-owned, although it wasn't the Italian mafia. And if you weren't staring at the girls and giving them dollars, you had to get the fuck out. I find this is unfriendly and bad business in that, as a business person, you just want people to enjoy themselves and spend money. But such was not the case. We moved on from 1977 to 1978 to a place that was either called DuQuoin or DeSoto, Illinois. Far north of the coal region as far as I know. And this was back when the Bee Gees ruled the earth. God damn, those were good days. So you'd end up with this huge dance floor with a stage at the end of it. And I don't know how they made this work, but they had tables for patrons. And the first and third sets, there was an empty stage, and the patrons would go up and drink and dance to Burn Baby Burn, and oh my God, all that shit. And the second set of each three piece, the stripper would come out. And the nice thing was, the stripper, when she was done with the routine, would come out and say hi to people. She'd throw on a robe or something. She wasn't like all boobied over at the tables or that. And I got introduced to this place due to a woman I was dating for a while. Because she used to wait on the strippers. She worked third shift at a restaurant. So on the nights off, we'd go and visit them. If you can get in with the strippers, such as being the boyfriend of someone the stripper knows, it's actually nice because then you're not a mark, you're a person. Speaking of marks, maybe we should talk for a moment about what happens with strippers, and let's talk about, what do I want to call it? There's a phrase, and this music's going around in my head and I can't think of it. Objectification, that's part of it. Being exploited, that's what it is. People are thinking that strippers are exploited and you suck. And I will not argue that strippers aren't exploited. In my past, I've known strippers who've been forced to fuck the boss's friends to maintain their jobs. But I think what works better than to see one person is exploited and the other person not exploited, the duality, I think we need like more of a Lion King circle of life thing. Because the club owner eats the stripper, but the stripper eats the poor idiot on the runway. Men are stupid and desperate, and I say this as someone who might be reasonably defined as a man. I have the physical equipment, at least the basic stuff, and in the past I have wanted sex, and I have done dumb things to achieve sex. If we move up to about 1994, I ended up in a strip club, which was one of the first I ever went to. I went there that first time because a friend of mine had just gotten a seat on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. You can like earn the seat through works, or you can buy a seat, and he bought the seat for somebody who was retiring. His father bought it for him. And to celebrate, we decided to go down to Rush Street to go to some of the strip places and maybe get a handy or get fucked or something like that. He was up for buying that night. I didn't have any money. I never have any money. But we drove all the way down to Chicago and couldn't find Rush Street because Google Maps didn't exist yet, and we were stupid and young and half drunk and horny. So we turned around and drove up to a place in Lake County that we used to go to that I would later occupy. And we go in, it's $20 at the door, 2-drink minimum. They only serve sodas. And for some reason, this guy buys me a lap dance. And I'm going to tell you true. I don't like being touched unless I've asked to be touched. I'm real, touchy about that. So here I'm at this table with this woman at the end of her lap dance, keeps reaching down to my zipper. And I'm like, I don't have any money anyway, so this isn't going to go where I want to go. And I don't even know this woman. She's kind of creepy. And luckily, the boss came over and screamed at her for wasting time and pointed her towards another table. She went over there. I wasn't quite ready for sex workers at that point. But when I ended up there in another decade and a half, it was a different story. My sister was working there. She worked as a waitress. She kept her clothes on, shut the fuck up. But she'd get me in for free. I'd get to sit at the stripper table. And strippers are not stupid. You might want to think they're stupid or they're sluts or whatever it is, but they are not stupid. They, if they're good, have razor sharp senses. And they will find the wounded gazelle in the tribe and they will pounce. Like the hyenas they may truly be at times. At work, it's all business. There's a stripper who used to work there. She was about 42 years old, which you'd think is a little long in the tooth. But she was fucking smart, and there were a lot of Navy-based guys that went there. So her entire gig was Betty Page. The bangs, the hair, the figure. Had an incredibly good figure for a 42-year-old. I gotta give her credit. And we'd be at the table, and all I remember is some of the other strippers pointing out that Navy boy over there, he's got a I need a mama face on, so go and exploit. Don't get upset about that. Like I said, it's a big circle exploit. I exploit you, you exploit the next person exploits me. It's a little more complicated than that, but you get the basic idea. Anyhow, it was really fun watching that in action. There was actually a stripper who wanted me. She had a thing for me. So here's your first big piece of general advice, guys. Have standards. Now, my standard wasn't that she was a sex worker, but a standard that I was taught by other men, which is it is better to attract women like crazy than crazy women. And this one had a drug habit. And that is not where you want to go, at least not if you intend to stay there for any length of time. Somebody around here has probably heard of a place called Texas Jay's, which used to be out near the interstate off the sea. I only made it there once myself, and that was to apply for a job as a bartender. Because I could think of nothing more hilarious. And remember, everything I do, it's got humor involved in it somewhere, or it will. I could think of nothing more hilarious than bartending in a place called Texas Jay's in Kenosha. Sadly, though, the city bluffed Jay into giving up his spot. And actually, it wasn't the city. I think it was the village of Pleasant Prairie. It was a seedy little bar, which is another attractive part. I don't know how you fuckers deal with places that are really nice and shiny and have well-pressed servers and shit. I like the sleazy places, the seedy places where you can hear some great stories and see some great characters. People who in a past life might have been related to, I don't know, Jack Kerouac or William S. Burroughs. Might have hung out at places were dark, Jennifer Lawrence looking characters in slinky scaled dresses singing torch songs. No, the places with like spit shine in the creases, I can't take those. I'd take the port over, fuck, I can't even name any of the good ones any day. But I digress, as always. General advice: attract women like crazy and not crazy women. As a guy, just because it's pussy, it doesn't mean you have to say yes. You should have standards. Really. Get off Tinder. Meet somebody local. Don't put your dick in crazy. As much as I talk about hookers, and I actually do have not a soft spot in my heart, but I understand the person trying to make money and using what they got to make the cash they can. I don't think prostitution is the way to do it, because there's too many negatives the way we do it now. I'm not subscribed to any OnlyFans, and the only time I ever check out anything like that is with Project Melody anyways, because I like them V-girls. So my actual interactions with paid sex workers have been close to non-existent, but there have been a couple. And here's what I found out. I found out prostitution needs to be legal. Not decriminalized. Decriminalized is bullshit. That's a half step. And I'm not saying that because of the tax thing. What prostitution needs is standards and safety protocol. Got to make sure nobody diseased is getting up in there. And you got to make sure that neither the customers nor the providers steal from each other. This stuff's bullshit. As far as I'm concerned, if they could legalize it enough, it'd be like hiring a plumber or a mechanic. You find one you like, you recommend to your friends. Goddamn, how hard is this, people? Really? Ah, fuck. Alright, I'm already 4 minutes over. I think I'm just going to say fuck with it. I'm going to get out of here. Remember, don't stick your dick in crazy. Guys have standards. Do not be diverted. Set a plan. Get a goal. Find a mentor. Find someone who will listen to you that won't tell you what you're supposed to say. It's not as prevalent as it used to be, but I'm sure it's still around here somewhere. Do not let sex divert you from what you have to do. If you are not getting laid, you can try to find a professional. Don't sink all your money in it. Just get the physical done and get back out there and get back on your duties and your standards, God damn it. Don't be afraid to go to a fucking strip club. They're just naked women. Remember, you're helping people. You're spreading around the money. It's a great material continuum. It flows like a river, God damn it. Anyhow, fuck, 25 minutes. I'm out of here. Abrupt end, but that's life. You all have a good evening. See you later.